This video will teach you the basics on how to perform an air dribble. I already have a more advanced air dribble tutorial, which I will link at the end of this video. But if you're struggling with things like the setup and controlling your boost, then this video will be for you.
All right, let's do this.
Work, but it doesn't work. I try to say something.
Now, the first thing I want to point out is that if you want to be good at air dribbles, you need to have good car control. So your car control practice and your air dribbling practice should go hand in hand. So this will be the training pack that I will be using in today's tutorial. It's a training pack that I designed myself. The training pack code is on the right, and I will also leave it in the video description if you want to download it yourself. The number one question that I get when it comes to air dribbling is, how do I keep the ball close to my car? Like, how do I actually control it? Now, unfortunately, there's not like one thing I can tell you to do that's going to help you with that. It's actually a number of things. So I'm going to break it down and I'm going to go through each of those step by step. You have the initial setup, then you have what I call the control touch, and then you have the actual air dribble. But what you want to be doing for the setup is you just want to pop in the ball like this. And before I break down what I actually do, I'll give you two of the most common mistakes that I see players do. Number one is they hit the bottom of the ball so it goes behind them like that. Do you see that ball's going behind me? So if I try and air dribble up to that, look, I just can't get to that, it goes behind me. And what's going wrong here is you're hitting the bottom of the ball. So what you need to do is you need to hit the front underside of the ball. So you don't want to hit the front of the ball there, like you don't want to hit the side of the ball here. You don't want to hit the bottom, you want to hit the front underside. Can you see where I'm hitting that? But that's where you want to hit it to get that pop, because you want the pop, but you want it to go forward. And then obviously if it's a closer control, you can just drive into the ball, but you're driving into the ball to the same place. Do you see when I actually catch the bounce? See, just as it hits the ground, I'm hitting it. If I let it bounce and I hit it there, you see it goes behind me. If I was to jump after that, like if I was to jump now, see it goes slightly behind me, so it's harder to control. Now what I'm actually doing to actually get that hit is I'm jumping, I'm tapping down on my left stick. So tapping, not holding, because this is another mistake I see a lot of players make, is they hold the left stick. Like, so they will jump, hold it, and they'll be all like this. You'll see it wobble back and forward, like where you push too far back, so you have to adjust and go forward again. So jump, tap, and jump.
Are you sure that this is completely necessary?
Necessary? Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine?
Probably not.
No, but I do it anyway because it's sterile and I like the taste.
Okay.
So now we get on to what I call the control touch. I wouldn't really call this a full air dribble, because obviously you're hitting the ball into the air and then you're getting a touch here. Like an air dribble from the ground would be, you know, from here. So you'd air dribble all the way to the goal from here. But just to keep this simple, you know, we're going to say this is an air dribble, but when you get here, it's all about this touch here. Once you hit the ball up, you full boost, but then if you let go of boost and you get ready to catch the ball, like you want to softly catch it so it stays with your car. Because if I full boost to this ball, then keep boosting, watch, if I boost at that ball, do you see it goes away from my car? Do you see, like, as my car hits it, see it goes away? And now I can't dribble it anymore. But if I boost up to the ball now, look, let go of boost, then tap my boost. See, I can stay with it. So you just want to practice this. Just get into the ball and then feathering your boost as you get there. Now, what you have to remember with each air dribble or any, you know, thing in Rocket League, you will make tiny little adjustments, like with your car. Unfortunately, I can't teach you how to do that, because that just comes with like hundreds or thousands of hours of practice. Like, the more you practice, the more you'll be able to make those tiny adjustments to actually control your car, and then in turn be able to control the ball. You know, it's like when you're riding a bike. Like when you're riding a bike, you will turn left and right. You will make these little adjustments with the handlebars that will keep you balanced. There's no way you can really teach somebody how to do that. It's just that repetition of doing it over and over again, you know, that gives you that hand-to-eye coordination. But what I can teach you about is I can teach you about how to control your boost. When you first start air dribbling, you will find it very difficult to feather your boost. It's just trying to get that motion of feathering your boost while you're controlling the ball. So I remember when I first started learning how to air dribble, this was one of the hardest things, actually air dribbling, was being able to feather my boost and control the ball. Once you can control the ball consistently, doing it this way, you know, then you can start going from the ground and then try and dribble it all the way into the goal. Now, if we move on to shot 2, I'm going to touch on something that I spoke about in depth in my previous tutorial. So if you do want to know about air roll left and right and things like that, then I definitely suggest that you go and watch that tutorial after this one. But once you're then able to consistently air dribble the ball like we was talking about in the previous shot, you then want to start incorporating air roll into your air dribbles. The reason being is because you can get different types of touches. So I'll briefly touch on what I mentioned in my previous tutorial, but like I say, if you want a longer explanation, definitely go and watch that tutorial. But if you watch, when I jump and hit the ball, do you see my car gets pushed back there? Do you see that? My car, like the ball pushes my car back away from the ball. Now watch when I air roll into the ball. That gap is totally eliminated when I air roll into it. And that's one of the big pluses that you get from air roll. So in the example here, I'm using air roll left. A lot of people say, well, should I use air roll left or right, or should I use standard air roll? Like, just the normal air roll where you have to use the left stick. Now here's something else that I want to show you. So when you air roll, I use normal air roll, which is LB for me. Right, this is normal air roll with the left stick. Right, look at the angle of my car towards the ball. So let's do it again. So my car is directly facing the ball now, right? Now watch when I air roll. Look at the angle of my car. Now watch when I use air roll left. Look at the angle of my car. Now I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, that's because I'm not pushing directly left on the stick. I'm slightly off as I'm pushing left, right? So if I air roll and then push directly left, look, that's like air roll with left stick. But what I'm trying to point out here is that that's how much room for error you have using standard air roll. Is that, so my car's now, it's not facing the ball anymore. My left stick is slightly pushing up that way. Like if you look now on my overlay, it's because I'm like that, not like that. You see the difference there? That's such a minute difference, but it's putting my car off that much. So you now think about when you're air dribbling. If you're air rolling while you're air dribbling and it's turning your car in the air, it's putting you out that little bit every single time. When you use what I call fixed air roll, i.e. air roll left or right, you won't have that. That eliminates that room for error. But that's just a really quick thing I wanted to go over, just to show you what differences the different types of air rolls make.
Boy, that sounds like fortune cookie wisdom to me, Billy.
No, that's just logic.
And then we move on to shot 5, which is off the wall. Now, so much has been covered about coming off the wall to an air dribble, so I won't dwell on this shot too long, but I will give you a couple of tips that I don't see mentioned often. So first off, when you're coming off the wall, obviously you need the ball, to be going towards the goal. Like many people have spoke about that. And the reason it doesn't go towards the goal is because you're either hitting too far to the left of the ball. So if I hit too far left, see it goes to the left of the goal. If I hit too far right to the ball, it goes too far out. Obviously I was exaggerating those touches, but that's the reason why that happens. So if you're finding that the ball goes too far out, for example, you need to hit it more to the left. If you find that the ball goes too far to the left of the goal, then you need to hit it more to the right. And then another tip I want to give you, which is really important, is you have to make sure that the ball is higher than your car when you come off the wall. So if you come off the wall, look, I'm too high, I'm too above the ball here. So it's going to be hard for me to air dribble that. So if you're coming off the wall like this, you're not getting the ball high enough, and your car, that's why a lot of people say brake. Like when you hit the ball, if you brake, see, because it automatically puts me under the ball. So if you're coming off the wall and you find yourself like this, I'm not low enough, like the ball's not above my car. That's what's important when you come off the wall, is the ball has to be above your car like this, so I can just catch up to it, and then you can obviously go for your air dribble after that. But the most important thing is it's always above my car. This is what's important. And then obviously the same thing when coming from the ground, your car has to remain at the same pace as the ball. The ball can't come off too fast and your car can't go too fast for the ball, because both of them things is always going to make any type of air dribble difficult. And then the final tip I want to give you when coming off the wall is basically learning how to come off the wall. Like, because I see a lot of people struggle with this bit here. They kind of go like this and don't know when to boost. But what you're basically doing is you want to practice without the ball, just coming off like this. That's what you want to do. You want to practice coming off the wall and flying towards the goal with no ball. You just want to practice this. So I just come off the wall and I'm air rolling to the left. And then obviously I can come off and I can air roll to the right, if I want to. But that's where I'm going to leave this tutorial. Like I say, check out my other tutorial if you want some tips that are a little more advanced. But thanks for watching, and until next time.